Yeah. I gotta wait.
Is it always like that?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
See, you're just laughing. Mm-hmm. 7 o'clock, all right, here we are, here we is. It is time to get down to biz, and I know y'all are looking forward to tonight because you're going to have somebody it's just eye candy to look at for the entire time. Oh, and also my wife is going to be here too. Here she is, the first lady, because I am the maybe I said You hear me one more time? I said impeachable president for life, and I'm talking about me, Jeffrey K. Clayton, the long-haired weirdo. Please welcome the First Lady, Miss Rebecca Clayton.
Hey, guys.
All right. Now, you know, I got my typical announcements to make. I got news. But we're going to be having a little conversation in the meantime. But you know what? If there's anything you guys care to ask the First Lady, go ahead and put it in the comments, because I'm keeping check of that. Do you guys remember about 3, maybe 4 years ago now, right? How long have I been doing this, honey? Since 2020, right?
Yeah.
So we're in year number 5. But one time I had her looking at all the questions and trying to field them for me because I couldn't keep track of it. But now I'm going to be fielding the questions. And I'll have it right here. So if you anything you want to ask, of course, Claytonzilla. Which, by the way, Claytonzilla, get ready for some links now, okay? I don't know. I don't have to tell you that because you're always ready and willing and able.
So you mean to tell them about the first time we ever met?
Tell the people about the first time we ever met.
You're going to have to say the year because I always get the year wrong. What year was it?
All right, this had to. All right, we were.
It was when Misguided Youth opened.
Okay, let me think about this for a second. Yeah, Misguided. It was Misguided Youth.
I know I was a junior in high school, so it had to be 84, 85.
It was just Misguided Youth and us. That was the second time we played the
Well Hut.
The Well Hut in Albemarle, North Carolina. The Well Hut, Woodman of the World. Kind of like a VFW hall.
And they trusted y'all.
They trusted us to be unsupervised for an entire evening. Antiseen and Misguided Youth. That really says something about the lack of responsibility that these people had.
Because of Misguided Youth, most of the fans out that day were high schoolers. Yeah. Because went to high school with at least one of the members, maybe 2. But anyway, we weren't really there for Misguided Youth, or at least I wasn't. I was wanting to check out this amazing band that people kept talking about called Antiseen. And I was outside while Misguided Youth was playing, but then once these guys started playing, I came inside because it sounded drastically different. And what I saw was drastically different. This was the most incredible creature I had ever seen perform in my entire life. There was smoke, there was broken glass, there was like crazy chaos, and it was incredible. And then after he played, he was sitting over in a corner with a towel over his head. He was sitting on the floor with his knees up, kind of hiding, and I was like, "Excuse me," and I kind of tapped him on the shoulder, and he lifted the towel, and he was like, "What?" And I was like, "That was really incredible." He's like, "Thanks." Put the towel over his head. And that's the first time he and I met.
And I didn't know at the time I was talking to my future wife. I didn't know that.
And he and I became good friends. I became closer friends with Joe earlier on because Joe was more accessible because he worked at the record bar. And of course, teenage girls hung out at the record store.
Now, see, I've explained the dynamic in the band before, but see, Joe worked at Record Bar in South Park Mall, which was the busiest and kind of leaned toward youth mall that we had. And man, everybody hung out there. But see, I didn't hang out there. But I'd come in and see Joe. If everyone talked to Joe, that's where I had to go because. But
he worked all the time.
But he was like a constant PR person for Antiseen at the record bar there in the mall, right beside Chick-fil-A. And so he's talking to all these people like every single day. And I'm sure he spread all kinds of weird fables and stuff about me, but.
Can I have a sideline real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe and I became closer friends much faster because he was more accessible and, easier to communicate with because he was there at the record store. Well, eventually he gave me his phone number and we'd talk on the phone some. And one day I called him and somebody answered the phone and I knew it wasn't Joe. And so I said, "Who's this?" And he said, "Well, who's this?" And I said, "It's Rebecca." And he goes, "Oh, hey, Rebecca." And I said, "Who's this?" And he said, "Jeff." And I said, "No, it's not." Because the only Jeff I knew about was this Jeff. And that went back and forth for, I'm not kidding, probably 5 minutes. And then he eventually said, "Joe's brother." And then from that point on, Barbecue, Jeff Young, and I were super close friends because he found out I lived right around the corner, and so he's like, "Well, hey, I'm gonna come over and we're gonna have a Coke and something to eat. Let's get a burger." I was like, "Okay," because he was new to town and he was really enthusiastic about making friends. But the man never met a stranger, and if it had been a wrong number, he probably would have offered to grab a Coke and a burger with them too.
It's funny you would bring that up. There's times when he has talked to people. That, see, back in the old days, you couldn't see who was calling you. So he'd pick up the phone and it would be the wrong number. And I swear, there are times when he would have a 15-minute conversation. I'm telling you, Barbecue Young, like she said, he never met a stranger. He could talk to anybody, anywhere, about anything for any amount of time that he would be allowed. Mm-hmm. And, okay, we got a question here from Brian Dunlap of the band October. What's your favorite Antiseen song?
That's like asking me what my favorite food is.
What's your favorite food?
It depends on my mood.
All right, well, just name like about 4 or 5 of your favorites that you can think of right off the top of your head. They're probably ones we haven't even written yet.
Strangely enough, Millworking Man is one of my favorite songs.
Millworking Man, y'all hear that?
Which y'all don't do very often or haven't done in forever.
No, we haven't done that in a long time. But I know it's one of your favorites, maybe we'll bring it back.
Justifiable Homicide. Great subject.
Hey, everybody, can you hear her okay? Give me some thumbs up. Let me know. Does she need to speak up? Because, I'm loud. So, is everything good? Okay, we're getting a bunch of hearts, so I'm assuming that's good. All right, so, she said, Millworking Man. Did you like it because of that thing I do in the beginning?
That definitely is a plus.
You want me to see if I can do it again?
Go for it.
All right, here we go. Oh, yeah! I can still do it.
That's impressive. That's honey. Of course, F all y'all. That's just a classic, of course. The only sad part about that song is it's usually how you send off and end a show, which... Yeah, we never... or come out for the encore to that.
We have come out to the encore a couple times. I don't believe in curses and stuff like that. But anytime we have ever played Fuck All Y'all during the show, something always goes wrong. Always. I mean, you can say, well,
That's you in coincidence.
that's just coincidence there, son. You got to tell me, but I'm telling you right now. Anytime we tried to open with it before, and you talk about fly off the rails, it was almost like everybody got their own individual, banana peel under their feet and started going.
I got such a visual of that. It's great.
Clayton Zilla wants to know, what is your favorite vocal performance of mine?
That's a really tough one because I would have to say it's something that nobody knows about, and it was when you played for that R&B group at Tremont that one night, and I came out because I told you, so I'm not gonna, not sure if I'm gonna make it or not, and I showed up and you were on stage and you were singing, and it was just incredible.
Which, do
And
you
I was
remember
so
what song it
impressed.
was?
I don't. I was so entranced by hearing your standard singing voice that it's kind of
Now,
a blur.
see, I did a brief stint with a R&B group called the O-Getters. We opened for Blowfly one time. We opened for Lee Fields one time, and I got to do. They had me come on as a special guest vocalist. I did maybe 3 songs with them.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the songs that I did with the O-Getters, we were so. The song we picked was so within my ballpark that I really felt like I was able to get a great performance out of it. And we have carried that into The Dimension, which is my R&B project with Steve Wensil. And that's a song by Rufus Thomas called The World Is Round. But we were doing a few others then, so I wish I knew which one it was. But
the only thing that ever matches that is when we have a quiet moment, maybe in the evening, or when you're treating me to a chauffeured ride to work, and I say, "Sweetheart, would you sing to me?" Those are my favorite vocal
that's right.
performances.
I'm a sweetheart.
Yes.
This is
Good
where
to
we
me.
take we move the curtain, and you can see the man behind the curtain. But that's what Break On Through has been the whole time, where we finally drop all that mystique and the rumors and the legends, and you see me for what I am. I think some of the best vocals I've ever done was recently on this Clayton and Wensil CD. I think I'm very pleased with that. And by the way, Thursday, Valentine's Day. Hey, well, we got the first lady on the Valentine's Day edition of
Little hearts popping in the
Break On Through. Give us some hearts.
Yeah, we need hearts.
And another song from Clayton and Wensil, Songs from Home, is going to be available on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, and other platforms that I do not even know what they are. But we're going to have posted up this Valentine's Day, "Oh Happy Day." And then next week we will post another, which I'll talk about on here. You got any more questions for the First Lady? Okay, he said live for studios. You answered those, I guess. All right. So, I'll tell you guys something about us meeting. Like, we've known each other since she was 17 years old. So, did you see that?
Yes, did you tell him that story?
I don't know if I did or not. I must have. Well, listen, I'm going to interrupt my story.
The only thing is that one requires some rather R-rated language.
Well, these are old people here, so. But Clinton Zilla asked, most memorable temper tantrum you got to see, maybe one that ended with CDs being thrown from the car. All right, let it rip. I mean, you've seen more temper tantrums than that.
Yeah, but that one was the funniest.
Yeah.
Because of the CD flexing and bending. So he had an older model Jeep, and so of course, the factory CD players and those things weren't, built to last. And there was a burned CD he was trying to play, and we were driving through the parking lot of the apartment building that I lived in. And,
reggae hits.
Yeah, reggae hits.
I used to always play reggae hits when we had Katie in the backseat of the car because I always wanted to get on Simmer Down so that I wouldn't have to tell her to do that. And she would hear the song and she just would start going,
I need to hear that again. So anyway, he was trying to get the CD in there and it kept coming out. Push the CD. He pushed it in there and it spit itself back out probably the fourth time, and then it started getting very forceful, and the CD was like bending and flexing. And this tirade of language is unbelievable. Turned the room, the inside of the car green, and he just grabbed it and like sailed it out the window. And I was laughing so hard. It was great. He wasn't laughing. He laughed later, obviously. But
one of the best tantrums with car stereo stuff, I was all by myself.
Right.
Remember when I told you when I took the entire player out because when I finally got it to work, Rock and Roll Band by Boston came on. We were just another band out of Boston. I ripped the entire thing out, wires and all, threw it out the window.
Don't know if it landed on another car or some innocent bystander.
I can tell you it was 1991 on Moorhead Drive. So.
Well, you probably weren't going too fast.
No, I probably wasn't. But Mondo asked you favorite bands that have opened for us. Well, what's some bands you've watched that opened for us and you said, man, they're good. I like that.
You ready?
Yeah.
Rabid Salesman.
Oh, the Rabid Salesman.
Yep. Undoubtedly.
Mike Pilmer,
who
who still runs our website to this very day, was the lead singer of the Rabid Salesman.
And Cocknoose would have to be a close second because they were fabulous.
A Cocknoose Antiseen bill was always meant something was going to happen. What? I don't know.
Very violent.
But it's going to be something.
That was also during that minute and a half that you were drinking too, so it was quite the spectacle.
Well, just in case Justin, the Widowmaker, is watching this, I'll just say this about any time Antiseen and Cocknoose played on the same bill in the same building, nothing but a party. Now he'll understand that. Y'all don't, but he will. Nothing but a party.
What are you saying about the only female bass player for Antiseen, Dina?
What's that mean?
I don't know, but she was and always has been just cute as a button and so sweet. I love her. She's a good girl.
Dina was one of my favorite band members, and I'm gonna tell you this. When Joe moved and the thing was just kind of falling apart, she offered to stay. But I didn't know what the future was going to hold. And then I ended up getting a band that was up in Newton, North Carolina, where Malcolm Tent
Clayton
lives now. What did he say?
Sam from Rabid Salesman.
Oh, yeah, from Rabid Salesman. She was also from Rabid. See, man, like the bands that we became friends with, and we know there's a lot of real intertwining all through the history. And what was I even saying? I ended up in Newton, and that's where I formed Jeff Clayton and the Slime Goats. But I had Throgmorton with me. Now I didn't know that Dina. At the time, Dina was a married woman. I didn't know how that would work traveling, maybe that's a chauvinistic thing to say, but I just always thought that was really, really, really great of her to offer to stay. And I told her, no, you can do what you want to do, and she ended up playing with Rabid Salesman for quite some time. Josh Houghton says Merle is God. Josh, I'm going to have to intercede here and say,
Far from
no,
it.
he's not.
The God of something, maybe, but not the universal one. Although he
Matthew Radford is a neighbor of Malcolm Tent. Okay, and now see, I was going to start with something. I was going to say, I'm not going to tell our entire story, but here's what happened. You know, of course, she became a fan the first time she ever saw us, and she was a big fan of me. And every husband she had between the time she was 19 or 20 till 10 years ago knew it too. Am I right?
Yeah.
And but we were never single at the same time until about 10 years ago. No, 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. 12 years ago. And we decided to give this a go. And as you can see, here we are, still together. And I'm going to tell you this. It might get a little mushy on you right here, but I'm going to tell you this right here. You all know the fate of my partner Joe, his brother Jeff, my original lineup of Bill Cates and Brad Keeter, original first recorded lineup, the classic lineup, I guess. And I'm here to tell you, I 100% honestly believe that had I not got with her and taken some of her advice as far as how I was living my life, that there would not have been a break on through. Antiseen would have probably ended sometime in the mid 2000s, and I mean that 100%, which is a perfect lead into what I want to talk about next. My wife is a holistic health coach. Now, that is not what she does by trade. She is licensed to do it. But where do you do that around here, you know? Well, I'm going to tell you where you do it around here. You do it at her Facebook page, Wellness Rocks. Can we have a link? Claytonzilla. And she will talk to you on a
one-on-one.
A one-on-one, but like a layman's terms. You know, it's not we giving you throwing a bunch of $10 and $15 words out there to make you go, and it will be affordable. She is aware of the plight of the working class, since we happen to be in that class. So, Rebecca, would you care to elaborate a little bit on Wellness Rocks?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
That is my wellness business, and what I do is you can contact me and I'll give you a free consultation over the phone. If you live locally here in Charlotte, we can meet in person, and you can express to me your health concerns, whether it's you feel like you're taking too much medication, you feel like your medication doesn't work, you feel like you're trying to eat healthy, but you really don't know what healthy is. And the reality of it is there's so much information out there. I can help you kind of sift through it and figure out what works best for you. That's why there's no cookie cutter approach to wellness, because it's different for everybody. And I help you figure out what your wellness is and how best to get to it. And you also get some emotional advice and support, because a lot of times, especially for females, we eat for emotional reasons. And so we can delve a little bit into that kind of thing, and what your triggers or prompts are to going into the refrigerator and looking for something and some substitutes for those kind of things. And anybody that's over 40 is not feeling tip top. I mean, if you are, then you're probably being very careful and mindful about your lifestyle and your food choices. But most of us are too busy to really even consider it. And like I said, there's so much information out there, it's hard to know what's best for us individually. Like, take Malcolm Tent, for example. He's vegan, and he is the picture of health. He feels fabulous. His mind is with him. He can do whatever he sets his mind to. He feels great. But, if I were to do a vegan diet, I would not be able to get out of the bed. I'd feel terrible because I've got to have protein. So, you know, like I said, it's just something that will help you figure out the best for you and kind of holding your hand through the process. So, and I've had a lot of success with the people I've worked with, and nobody's given up until they've gotten where they want to be.
And I'll tell you this, she has also been instrumental in helping me to keep my voice through these tours. She has turned me on to remedy, and this is all natural stuff, man. We try to stay away from medicines and big pharma stuff as much as possible. So please keep that in mind. And there's also one more part of Wellness Rocks by Rebecca that she will be glad to assist with, and that is and most people would not think this, but don't worry when I say this. Don't mean she's going to knock you over the head with it, but there is also a celebration of faith, which helps in health and healing.
Absolutely.
And
if you're interested, we can talk. If you're not, that's cool too.
So, no judgment.
Mm-hmm.
She is no judge. I am no judge. Well, I don't know. But anyway. So, if you're interested in that at all, you can contact the First Lady on the link provided by Claytonzilla. A couple things up. There's Jim Earhart. Says, hello, JC and First Lady. Here I is. All right. That's what I like to hear. I like to hear that everybody is in here doing the biz. Now, any more questions for the First Lady about what as it pertains to she and I? Matthew says faith is one of the cornerstones to life, and Matthew, you are correct. All right. Well, I'm going to tell you this though. Clayton, get ready with a link.
Poor Clayton.
The First Lady, and you know, this is all, it's all wild how this all came together. The First Lady talking on Break On Through before Valentine's Day on Friday. And on Saturday, she and I will be renewing our wedding vows live. I'm talking about live at the Encounter, Charlotte. Can we have a link? Claytonzilla. And it's not just us. It's a bunch of couples. It's done for Valentine's Day, but a bunch of couples in the church. But man, we're going all out. We've sent out some invitations. I'm doing a public invitation right now to anyone who would care to be there. And it's going to be a very fun, meaningful evening. So anyone that would care to come, there's the link right there. See, you ask for a link, I get a link. And there it is. I'll tell you if you're in the area. Okay, there's some questions coming in. Let me go up the top. First Lady, ever play in any bands?
No, but I've been the supporter of many.
All right. All right, now, here we go. Paul Robinson, does the First Lady have advice or suggestions for nutrition and diet changes for diabetic folks?
Absolutely.
Paul, contact her.
Send me an instant message. I'll send you my phone number. We'll do a consult over the phone.
A concert. She's talking about being in a band. So yes, Paul, there's the answer to that question. Mondo wants to know any ridiculous merch stand stories or interaction.
I don't really think there's any I can think of. I mean, because I started doing merch for you, like, once your fans became grown. I wasn't really working the stand in the 90s.
And plus, she does the merch at the local shows, which frees Mondo up to help us on the stage. But Mondo's the man out on the road.
Yeah, I'm sure Mondo's the one that you need to have him on there to tell crazy merch stories.
Mondo, when you want to come back and tell crazy merch story, or should we even do this? We might make people mad at us telling merch stories. Jeff Martin, my good pal from down in the great state of Texas. With all the absolute insanity I've seen on Facebook, it sure is good to be amongst some normalcy and goodness. Thank you, Jeff Martin. That means the world.
Thank you.
To us, because I'm gonna join. I'm gonna chime in on that comment you just made, and I'm gonna say, you know what? You're absolutely right. This social media has become a
vicious,
ugly, mean, spiteful nightmare. And I don't know, man. I've said it before. If I didn't have to push my hustle, then I wouldn't be on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's nothing on here I even care to see that much.
Don't be
polarizing the wallets. That's why you shouldn't be telling merch stories.
Oh, good point, Walt. Good point. The only thing that I've ever been anything less than positive feeling about at the merch stand is when people set a bottle of beer on top of the merchandise, and I'm just like,
now I'm going to tell you my instruction.
and
listen, if y'all don't like this, well then that's just too bad. I tell every merch person that has ever worked for me, if people come and put their beer on the merchandise, take their beer and toss it.
Yeah.
And they're like, really? You really want me to do that? And I'm like, yeah.
You're behind the merch stand. They can't hit you.
I mean, I don't think they do. but you know, that's our policy. But, okay, so we got the valves, we got the Wellness Rock plug. And while you're at the Encounter Charlotte link, either finding out what the address is to come to our vow renewal this coming Saturday at 6 p.m. You can also go on there and donate, make a donation to help the people of Western North Carolina. Now, I know help is on the way. I know they're getting, a lot more is being done in the past 3 weeks and been done in the past 3 months. But, you know, more can be done.
Always.
More can be done.
We're still providing generators and fuel and
propane,
hot meals and clean water.
Chainsaws.
Mm-hmm. Warm blankets,
you know.
Toys for little kids.
Yeah. Like at Christmas, they brought a bunch of toys for little kids that were obviously not getting anything. Mm-hmm. Until you people would contribute. So, it's a good thing. And lots of great interviews on there. Please check them out. That's the church we attend. We are members of.
We pride ourselves on being that church, and it's literally full of quirky weirdos. We're right at home.
Yeah, so there's that.
That's great.
But, well, honey, I'm going to make a few announcements, and maybe some more questions will pop up while I'm announcing. Oh, here's one, I think. Don, I'll be glad. I could do a whole show on the 31st Street Pub and my love for Joel Green. Joel, you know, of the 31st Street Pub. But I'm not going to do that tonight with her here because she's never been there. And she'll just be sitting here looking at me. Like, what's he talking about? So,
no, just with love and adoration.
but let me put a pin in that, Don, okay? All right, I'm trying to keep an eye on the screen and on my now. Well, you can watch the screen. Maybe can you see that?
Yeah, I'll let you know.
All right. Well, man, I know that with the price of eggs going up, and you're getting up, you know, for breakfast, you're getting ready to go work in the warehouse or drive the truck
or cut the hair,
and you're trying to make some eggs, but you're trying to make your eggs last a little longer, so you're having to make. You just fixing one egg, and you're hungry. You got to have some energy to go do what you do to make it on through. But the first thing that comes into mind is, when am I going to see Antiseen live again? Well, I've got the answer to those questions right here. I'm going to give you those answers. March 6th, we will be at Tribbles in Piedmont, South Carolina. And there's going to be a couple opening groups with us. One of them I know for a fact is Zach Hembray's new outfit, Blue Ridge Death Cult. They're going to be playing, getting that stage warmed up nice and hot for Antiseen to go step on it.
What's the name of that club?
Tribbles.
What? That's those things from
Star Trek.
Yeah. Okay.
I asked that too.
The little fuzzy balls.
But what I'm understanding is the owner is named Mr. Tribble.
Oh, okay.
All right. Now, if you come to Piedmont, South Carolina on March 6th, and you're just like, man, that was the thing I needed to make me right all through the night. Let's do it right. It was wound tight. I need more. Well, a short drive down to Hotlanta Town is going to put you at the Star Bar on March 7th with our special guest Bigfoot and our big time exalted overseer of the entire evening. There, live the entire night, making sure that all you stay in line and everything is done fine and on time. I'm talking about the legendary Abdullah the Butcher will be setting up, selling photos, taking pictures with fans, taking pictures with us, because we're fans. I'll tell you, when Abdullah the Butcher's around, you see Antiseen turning to giddy little fanboys. So, come see that. It's worth the price alone for that.
See you guys geek out.
Oh, good gosh, yes. But
he's a good man.
He is a good man. Him and Miss Malika, his assistant, partner, manager, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people, and we cannot wait to be in their presence again. And man, I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit of a haul, but if you need more, like Andrea True once said, more, more, more. How do you like it? How do you like it? You may need to drive down to Fairhope, Alabama, the great coastal, scenic, historic town of Fairhope, at Johnny Mac's. Because right there, we got a question?
I got two.
All right, well, let me finish this one and then we'll get the question.
Okay.
At Johnny Mac's, Antiseen Live, with country sensation Miss Kelsey Ray Copeland, and Mobile, Alabama's favorite sons and daughter. I'm talking about the one and only Future Hate. That is going to be a blue ribbon, grade A, first prize. This little piggy went to market night that you have never, ever, even never, ever, to this day, ever seen. So don't miss it. And I got a few little crumbs to drop for you for April. April 17th, we will be in Youngstown, Ohio. April 18th, we will be at Dunlap's in Cleveland, Ohio. You hear that, Tom Dart? Cleveland, Ohio. And the 19th, we are still working out the details for a special showcase show of Antiseen somewhere in the great state of New Jersey. So as soon as I get those details nailed down, I'll get that to you. Now, we do have some questions for the First Lady. Let me get there. So do you like when I go in full Carney mode? Let's say.
Well, you know, that's go live isn't the only time you do that.
Yeah, she's right.
we get that periodically around the house for various
occasions. Like if they're telling me to do something, or I tell them, I have to go into that same type of attitude and spiel going, I have been doing whatever we're talking about. I have been peeling frozen bananas long before you were ever born. That kind of thing. My
favorite is, I don't need some woman telling me how to whatever the situation is. And I look at him and I go, well, clearly you do.
Well, you know what? I'm going to give a little transparency on that. A lot of times I look at her and go, I don't need no beautiful brunette, big booed babe telling me what to do.
And
then she just looks at me.
Clearly, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, so Mondo asks if I ever miss working at Urban Decay. The cosmetics are great. Some of the girls I worked with were fabulous. I still keep in touch with and still really love. But the company itself was just horribly mismanaged. And Clinton asked,
Who was your favorite wrestler?
who's my favorite wrestler, Jeff?
I don't know. You got along really good with Mick Foley.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I guess I would have to say George South because I love him personally. Now, as far as their performances, I honestly don't know that much about wrestling, and it's not that I hate it. I was just brought up in a household, and I know this sounds really strange, but my mother acted like she was a little higher than our socioeconomic level or social standing because wrestling was frowned upon, roller derby was frowned upon, a whole array of things. There were certain words that you did not say, like you could not say shit or poop, it was BM. You couldn't say fart, you had to say poot or expel gas. And so I was quite rebellious at an early age over these very simple things, but I never really learned that much about wrestling until I was with this guy, and he's wonderful because he doesn't ever push anything on me. He'll make a suggestion or make mention of something and say, well, honey, if you'd ever like to find more out, you know, let me know.
Like for instance, I just see I tell people this before, man. Almost everything in life you do, you have to do kind of like a wrestler or a carny, man. You got to read the room. You got to read the room.
And there's certain times I'm really receptive to new things.
Sometimes
and
she is
times
receptive,
like,
but like I said, you know, I'd really like to watch that documentary on Andre the Giant. And she goes, okay. Yeah, and she enjoyed it. Oh,
but the thing is he's learned that if he says it's something he wants to do, I'll always agree with it. But if he serves it up like something for me, most of the time I'll say, nah, it's okay. But if he says he wants to do it, then, well, yeah, sure, we'll do that. Because, you know, I'm all about him, you know, getting to watch what he wants to watch. It's not always about what I want to watch or what we agree on.
And like she said, she's a big fan of George South because George South is a close family friend at this point. I am happy to say he was
we love him dearly.
He was someone I looked up to quite a bit years ago, but and still do to this day. Amy Lynn wants to know. I want to hear the Miss tell us that Duran Duran moment. Your summary was hilarious. Please tell the Duran Duran story.
All right. Well, just a little backup information. When I was 14, I saw Duran Duran play live in concert, and it was my first live concert, and it was Duran Duran. So when I say
Walt Wheat's a Duran Duran fan.
When I say it was you think you're outing him? It's really is that something to be proud of?
I like him.
Well, you also like the Beach Boys, so.
Yeah, well, so does Malcolm.
Oh, well, there's nothing Malcolm doesn't like. He finds the good in every form of entertainment.
He don't like Blondie.
What?
Yeah, that's what I did when he told me that.
That's kind of random.
Yeah, okay, well, go on.
Okay, well, anyway. So the first time I saw him was the first live concert I ever saw. And I was 14, and if you have ever known, or if you have been a 14-year-old girl, the emotions are through the roof. So, yeah, it made a huge imprint on me. Like, literally for probably 3 months after that, Simon Le Bon was all I could think about. Like, I was so madly obsessed with him, it was ridiculous. So, fast forward to being an adult, we bought the expensive tickets for the seats right up front, and he was literally so close I could smell his cologne. And at one point he looked down at me, and when he made eye contact with me, I said, I love you, with some crazy desperate face. And he just looked down at me and he said, I know. I was just like, really? Thank you would have been a better response. But I mean, you know, how could you not?
Are you sure it was not?
Yeah, it was, I know. I know. I'm like, great. But yeah, it made for a great story later.
Let's see what else we got. Thank you, Wes. Youngstown, Ohio. What is that place called? Mondo, what's the place called in Youngstown? Clinton. Somebody's got to tell me something. All right. Oh, good gosh, what's going on here? Okay.
You.
Amy said she loved it.
Good.
West Side Bowl. West Side Bowl. That's like a cereal bowl on the west side.
The west side of the cereal
The west
bowl.
side of the cereal bowl, which is probably be where
The
your
cereal is
spoons.
still crunchy.
Yeah. So, let's see. What else do I want to talk about? Yeah, Don, come on out to the West Side Bowl. Hey, there's Walt Wheat, Duran Duran fan. Walt Wheat.
Hey, my Duran Duran and Star Wars brother.
Yeah. Yeah, but I want to tell y'all another story that's connected to the First Lady with involving wrestling. Mick Foley thought she was wonderful, and they got along great. But one time we were walking through Mad Monster Party, and she was all foxed up that day. But not that I don't think we even planned to go. We just went, and we're walking through, and man, I saw a Dracula AD 1972 poster, from Hammer that I wanted, and it was $40. And this is a long time. This was quite a ways ago, but I was debating the whole time. I'm not gonna spend $40 on that. I should have now, but anyway, we are walking, and my head's kind of in the clouds. Like, okay, $40, And all of a sudden, I look over, and there's Dr. Tom Pritchard sitting there with all these wrestling belts. I'm just like, I just looked at him and I went,
Squirrel!
I just went, Dr. Tom! And he goes, hey, how's it going? And so I think Russ was with us. So me and Mad Brother Ward, were just fanboying out to Dr. Tom Pritchard of the Heavenly Bodies being there. And so we were getting pictures made with him, and Becky was taking the pictures with our phone. And Tom Pritchard could not stop concentrating on her. He's like, man, is that your wife? I was like, yep. He goes, wow. And he goes, man, I really like her style, man. And his nails. And I said, yeah, me too. and
I'm just standing there like,
and he's just kind of going like, wow. I was like, man. And I was walking off with her going, man, Dr. Tom was all about you. And she's just like, who?
So I was asked what my favorite Duran Duran song is, and once again, that's like saying what's your favorite food. It would have to be a toss-up between Planet Earth and The Chauffeur and New Religion. Definitely. He's like, okay. I've never really cared for a band's hits usually as much as I have, like, the B-side or, lesser known songs I've always enjoyed more. But it might be because I've heard them less. I don't know. It might have stemmed from, I learned at an early age that I definitely wasn't like other kids. But I've told that story before, the tartar sauce story. I told that the last time I was on your Go Live.
Tartar sauce.
Yeah. In elementary school, how I always
Oh,
took
yeah.
the little cup of tartar sauce and all the other kids wouldn't take it because there was some bully kid that was like, oh, if you eat tartar sauce, it means you're retarded. And I'm just like, well, if you don't want yours, I'll eat it. I mean, I was like, I wasn't gonna let somebody's ridiculous saying get in the way of my food. I would also eat beets off of other people's plates. Now, what genius adult thought that serving beets to kids was going to be a popular thing?
Now,
Now,
apparently you told Clinton Zilla something about safety dance.
Yeah, he doesn't care for that one.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what. When we're riding in the car, and I can tell when she likes TikTok. I do not. Because it's like choop 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 choop.
He said it sounds like somebody flipping through
Flipping the radio
stations.
dial, and you know I have 4 channels I listen to when I'm not listening to talk radio. And it's all classic rock stuff and oldies, and man, when I hear her make this noise.
You can ask my son about that.
And the face goes with it. It's like a cat. That
Like
finger starts going toward those buttons. But one day we were riding around and man, Summer Breeze by Seals and Cross came on. I'd never known that beautiful song to elicit so much hatred and violence in people. But they get to the part where they're talking about the blowing through the jasmine in my mind.
Oh my God!
It's like I got candles lit here now, jasmine. And they're blowing through the jasmine in my mind. And I just think of a nice, peaceful, oh man, that's great. Blowing through the jasmine. And here I hear. And I see that finger. And I said, I had to be kung fu fast and grab that finger. I said, nope. And she looked at me, you like that? And I'm like, I love this.
And you also did it to Kokomo by the Beach Boys.
Oh, no.
Who likes that?
A Kokomo, we were listening to it. Yeah, and I heard that. And she's going for it. And I had to put my hand over the radio thing, and she goes, and she starts going on this tirade. I'm going to spare all the cussing that she did, but who in the beat likes that kind of rancid? I'm adding
Putrid.
to it. Putrid.
Garbage.
Squeaky clean beep, you know, just like. And I went, I do.
And I was like, no, you don't. You can't possibly like that. You're too cool to like Kokomo.
And see, I'm going to tell you something. You wouldn't believe this because you talk to some people, you go, oh, the Antiseen guys, man, they're not tolerant of stuff. Man, I'm the most tolerant guy when it comes to stuff like that. And I said to her one day,
a song has got to be horrible for him to not like it.
And that would be American Pie, Safety Dance.
And Sometimes When We Touch.
Sometimes When We Touch. I'm like, man.
It's the biggest weenie song
sometimes
ever.
I think he's talking to his weenie. Because what woman would sit and tolerate that? None. The honesty's too much? I want to hold you till the fear in me subsides? Well, damn, y'all like, damn, you're glad you don't like that song, but you sure know the lyrics there, don't you, son?
It's because they burned into your mind because they were so shockingly bad.
Let's see here. But anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, Kokomo. Yeah, I love Kokomo. But I was telling her one day, she was complaining about something. And I just looked at her and I said, Rebecca, it's only like 2.5 minutes. Just let it go. And she looked at me and said, you know what? You're right. I should just let that go instead of letting it eat me up.
Yes, Flock of Seagulls is fabulous. Yes. There are not a lot of 80s new wave bands that I don't love. But, funny note, so I liked Kajagoogoo because I found out that Nick Rhodes from Duran Duran discovered and helped produce them. And it was one of those bands where I just didn't listen to for like 30 years. And when I got a Spotify account, I was like, oh, let's look up, the first album. And it was unlistenable. Like, there was only 2 songs on there that I could even get through. The rest of it was like, good God, I listened to that. But there's not a whole lot from being a teenager that I listened to then that I cannot tolerate now. As far as new wave is concerned now, punk rock's a totally different story. I cannot listen to Dead Kennedys or a whole lot of Black Flag or Youth of Today as an adult.
I'm going to tell you, and this is, man, I will never take away what Black Flag did for me as far as lighting that fuse, seeing them live and everything. But man, you listen to those lyrics, man, they whine more than Pete Townsend. And I can't take that. Ooh, my life. I can't take that stuff, man. Go to church. But what's that Flock of Seagulls song I like? Space Age Love Song? I love that
That's
song.
fabulous.
Love it. Who knows what may happen with a future edition of Time Machine. Speaking of Time Machine, test pressing today. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
I can.
All right. I knew you could. Let's see. What else we got? Well, honey, we pushed this one almost to an hour. Yep. Don I like Human League. I don't know if First Lady's big on. You like Don't You Want Me In? And the conversation turns. I love that part. I know that's not in Don't You Want Me.
New Order is another one of my favorite 80s new wave bands. And Depeche Mode. Oh my God, Depeche Mode.
But I have turned her on. I've turned her on to some things just completely out of the blue. Man, she liked Witchfinder General, if you can believe that.
It's very good.
And when I took her to see Hank 3 for the first time, she was just like, that was incredible.
And Todd Rundgren.
And we went to see Todd Rundgren.
And it's not that I disliked him. I just didn't know a whole lot about him or a lot of his songs. But that was.
She didn't even give the Stones and the Who a chance until we got together, did you?
I did not.
She's like, hey, ain't enough hairspray in them bands for me to listen to them. I don't see a stroke of eyeliner. But she looked on Keith and Mick, she may have seen some. But
you're making me sound really shallow.
I say, who sings I Ran So Far Away? That's Flock of Seagulls. Flock of Seagulls did I Ran. Well, honey, I guess we're going to wrap it up. It's time for us to get in there and sit on the couch. And do what we do best. Nothing!
Play footsies and watch TV.
Play footsies. Lately we've been watching All in the Family, man. And I'm going to tell you what, there has not been a more classic comedy show ever on television. But, oh, there's Joel Greenfield right there. I was talking about you a few minutes ago, Joel. I'm going to go ahead and be mushy here with you, Joel. I mean, I miss you. I miss 31st Street Pub. You know, we haven't even played Pittsburgh since the pub shut down. That was one of my favorite places to play. Because it always felt like we were coming to a friend's house. And that's always fun, isn't it? But, anyway.
We love you guys. You guys are awesome.
So, I just want to say, you know, you guys, I told you, I've been talking for the last little bit. When I come on talking about, you know, I came on with a heavy heart. I had some, we've had some stuff going on in the family. But I just want to say this. I just want to say this publicly. And that is, if my daughter's listening, I want Jake and Carrie and little Winter to know that we love you all so much.
Yes, we do.
And with that being said, I just want to say to you, whom I also love, that I hope you have a great week.
Yes.
An even better weekend. And I appreciate every one of you coming and sitting here with us and just listening to us jaw for a little bit. And
It's fun.
I gotta interject something with Greg Crawford right here. Yeah, I forgot what the name of the original show is, but I have seen the show that All in the Family was based on, and it is also funny. Not as funny as All in the Family, but it did start in England,
But
as did Sanford and Son.
But speaking of English humor,
oh my goodness, man, we love
keeping up appearances. And Doc Martin.
And Doc Martin. And
Are You Being Served?
Are You Being Served?
those are other ones that are in the Clayton family rotation when we just want some light, quick viewing, 30, 45-minute shows.
Yeah. So anyway, we're getting ready to go in there and do it to it. But for all of you working tomorrow, man, I hope you have a great day. I hope you get through it. I hope it's rewarding for you. And I'll tell you what, we love you. God loves you. And we will see you all right next week. Next week right here on Break On Through. Have a happy Valentine's Day. I got mine right here. Come here. Mwah.
And big kisses to all of y'all.
Mwah.
Good night.